Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Football Manager 2020, Zero to Hero, episode number 25. So here we are. This is it, in more ways than one. So first off, it's the start of a new season. We just kicked off moments ago, and we are now in the Vanarama National League as Dean McKinnon opens the season with the first goal in just the 7th minute, coming out of the corner kick. Ball beautifully played into the space between the zone, though that really should have been cleared out. Zone marking should have covered that. But also there's McKinnon gets his second. And oh man, it's only the 14th minute. Off free kick. McKinnon feeling up to it. Owen feeling up to it. And Sutton United not feeling up to it at all. Man, oh man, they are going to wish that they can go home soon. There is Adrian Williams with his first, and that's 3 inside the first 20 minutes of this game. Oh man, Forbes already on a yellow card though. Oh, keeper. That's a save you've got to make. Reaction's really slow on that one. Here's Williams, chance to make it 4. No, it's blasted off the wall and out of bounds, but here we go. So, opening game of the season. We're also going to see the end of the season within this episode. Reason for it? This is it, folks. This is it. As much as I love and enjoy doing this series, A, it takes a ton of time. B, I've been doing it almost entirely for myself, as there's been very few views throughout this series from the beginning till even now. We're 10, 15, sometimes less than 10 views for an episode. It takes a lot of time and effort to produce these videos, many hours, plus the editing and everything else. It's high effort for very little return, but it's just something that I have enjoyed doing and I think still has potential. I want to do something like this again next year, right away from launch. I think maybe instead of the regular series that we've kind of grown into with FM20. So I think that's maybe the plan for the upcoming year. And if I can build an audience a little bit better next season, then yay me. And if not, it's okay. While we get this second half underway, we'll stop on our youth intake day as kind of a mid-season update, see what we've got, and then we'll kind of skip straight to the end of the season. So we're not going to get much. Couple things. One, I'm getting lots and lots of interest for transfers, and maybe we'll stop at the end of January to check in on that. We're already getting offers of $300,000 plus, and literally dozens of offers in that 6-figure range. Dozens. I'm getting offers for players that are still in U18s that for tens of thousands of dollars. I'm getting offers for U23s. Lots of players who have never even featured for the side are getting considerable offers. So that's something that I'm going to have to keep an eye out for, because if we lose any more players than what we've already lost, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. We really are. Phil Hammond on a yellow. Let's go ahead and bring you out so we don't... That's a lot of players on a yellow card. Ramage, let's get you into the side for Halford. There you go. 15-4 on the shots, 59% on the possession. We're definitely in control of this game, and look like we're cruising towards the victory here. Daly, a couple chances, not able to finish one-on-one. Other reason that I'm planning on calling an episode by the end of this season. multiple games have been coming out. It is that time of year, that part of the season, where a lot of games are getting released. And so there's a lot of new ones that have either just recently started on the channel, as Spence makes it 4, and that is the Gegenpress at its best as we force the turnover on the defense and convert one-on-one with the keeper there, who really needed to try to come out and challenge that one as that ball was being turned over, but didn't, and made it easy on us. Anyway, so lots of new titles have already started. A couple new ones have just started in the last couple of days, and this is mainly making way for those. So as much as I want to keep putting this time in and continuing with this challenge for me, I've got to just spare the time. End of November, quick update. 20 matches into the season, we have a slender 1-point lead over Notts County and Cambridge. It's close. It is close. Goal differential is only +3 over Notts County. It's very tight in the league. But 46 points through 20 played is pretty good. But it's far from perfect. In fact, we've dropped, 14 points already? I mean, 4 draws, 2 losses. It's good, no doubt about it, but it's definitely not perfect. FA Cup expectation is to reach the 3rd round as a minimum, and 2nd round is ongoing, and we've already played with a 2-1 victory against Morecambe that was just played out through the simulation. So we are going to reach the 3rd round. We have not yet gotten involved in the FA Trophy. Team expectation is to win it this season. We made the quarterfinal a year ago. Things are going well, I guess. At this point, we have had some injuries, minor ones. Chris Cousins, the most affected. He's out for another 1 to 2 months, and it's been a while since he broke his foot. Not a big deal, as he's down the depth chart a bit as a backup. We have just recently, in the last couple of weeks, I called up Jake Stevenson from the U18s. Also, Simon Smolka. So Smolka, 93 with a 127 possibility. Those guys have both been called up. Neither has gotten into the squad yet, though, in the last 2 weeks. Alright, so we've reached the trade deadline. We were knocked out in the 3rd round of the FA Cup by Sheffield Wednesday. Still alive in the FA Trophy. It's the 3rd round now. And in the league, struggling a little bit recently. We've picked up a few losses on the road in some recent games. And we've got 2 games in hand. We're 7 points behind Notts County right now, who themselves have been really good. Cambridge also ahead of us by 4 points. We're 3rd place in the league. We've got a nice goal differential advantage over South Shields, but otherwise we're in the same place they are. They've just played 1 game more than we have. So there are some struggles, but I've only just made some updates to the expected roster. So Smolka, Stevenson, other guys are just now going to start appearing ahead of some of the other players. And I think we could have a little boost. At this point, no players are gone transfer-wise, but there's a few that it looks like there was agreements, but then nothing happening. The board hasn't officially come out and said, "Oh yeah, we'll take that deal." There were definitely some big money offers, though. So it looks like we've escaped without losing any players. I'll see you here in a month and a half, late season. We'll see if we can make up some ground, but also we'll take a look at our youth intake at that point. To see your way into the side, you clearly need to be 90 plus at this point. Erdogan is certainly there, but as a backup goalkeeper, it's difficult to get in. You can see there are a few U18s that could see their way into the side. Carl Manning especially, but he's still fickle personality-wise, so I need him to make some progress in the personality traits. But Stuart, Kelly both could be in as well. Jake Weir and Nigel Madden are both really close. So there's as many as 5 U18 players that could be in the senior squad here in the next little bit. A week and a half away from intake day, and we desperately need the intake. In the 2 days that followed, or the day that followed, the last update, it felt like half the team was ripped away from us. All 2 big clubs, and a couple of them for small amounts of money. Dean Kelly, Bob Hughes gone. Big paydays. Carl Manning, Alex Halford, Paul Aitken, and our goalkeeper, Barry Ball. All gone for the 4 of them, near $1 million each. $3.4 million combined. But 6 players lost. Bob Burns I let go for free. He was one I wanted gone, and that was over the summer. But all of them going on the same day. And yeah, just pretty infuriating that we just lost all of those players. I've already called up some U18s to replace these guys and just reshaped the squad now. I mean, they essentially just went a month with a very depleted squad. Erdogan has at least been picking up the starts. Smolka is now turning into one of our key players, and he's just come up from the U18s. Stewart's come up from the U18s. Most of these guys in the 90s all just came up from the U18s as replacements. It's going to be a little tougher right now to kind of step in. I think Stewart needs to go in tactically to play Forbes. I think he was out. So you're going to go in for Hammond. And then do we want Hammond or do we want Stewart? I think we're going to let Stewart play. There you go. Hutton, for that matter, shouldn't be there. Need to get McKinnon back into the side. Except for you don't have a place, do you? We lost our central midfielder as well. Stevenson, striker. Okay. McKinnon, couldn't you play? No, not really. Ramage. Ramage is like all we've got left here. Yikes. Yeah, we have definitely lost some depth to this squad, and it's going to be difficult to continue on. We're up to second place. We're 1 point behind Notts County, and we still have a game in hand. We're better by a differential of 4, and with 24 teams in the league, that's 46 games. So we're getting pretty close to the end of things. So it's going to be a difficult stretch. We're a week and a half away from that intake, so let's go ahead and skip forward to that point. Youth intake should be today or tomorrow. We're right on top of it. Meanwhile, our U18s have an 11-point lead in their league ahead of Derby. So that's fantastic how far our U18s have come. And that's despite half of that team getting called up to the senior squad. Oh, internationals. Yeah. Next up, South Shields. They're in third place. We have moved into that lead league as we are about to hit this youth intake. I'm surprised it didn't come yesterday. Ah, there it is. Okay. Youth intake. John McKenzie, another goalkeeper. How is it that we are getting one top goalkeeper after another? But not, wow, he's got reflexes of 15 already. As a 16-year-old, that's pretty fantastic. And there's some potential elsewhere. Let's go ahead and look straight into the youth candidates and break it down. So John McKenzie, a 63 of 136 potential. That's pretty good. He needs to develop quite a bit though. Aaron Friend, a 115 potential. Billy Gow, a 115. Ashley McLean, a 111. And a couple 90s. These guys are already... We got to let them go. Terminate. And we're going to terminate yours. And we're going to terminate yours. 64 is probably not enough either, especially when it's only a 38 right now. A 3171 is not going to be enough. This is a really bad group for us. This is the worst we've seen by far. 4074, 3575. These guys aren't going to be good enough either. And these ones we will sign. It looks like none of them are going to be ready. So this looks like the weakest class we've had, period. I mean, this is by far the weakest group we've had come in. So we did have a new assistant manager this season, right? Our last assistant manager was hired to manage another club. So this could be why. And in terms of personality, Billy Gow, unambitious, he's going to struggle. A couple guys are fickle again. Yeah, rough group. We'll take a look at how these guys actually filter in. And yeah, he's got the highest potential, the goalkeeper. I mean, again, how do we keep getting caught up with goalkeepers? But look at how many guys are left here that are better than all of the outfield players. We've called up half a dozen, and we called up a couple at the end of last season. So that's like 8 guys that have moved on to the senior squad, and the next 5 are still better than all of the outfield players. So, really unfortunate. You can see there is a few on that low end, and a few would have matched up there. The rest of these guys look like they're probably good enough to bring in. So I can go ahead and offer these last 4 or so, but that's pretty rough. Top to bottom, this does appear to be the worst youth intake we've had. So kind of a bad way to end things. We lose a ton of talent this year, the most we've ever lost on the 2nd of February. And then and then we get a youth intake this bad. I mean, this is a bad year for us. All we have left now is hopefully keep the streak alive and win the league. And that's the one thing that's now looking decent for us. We've got 6 to play. Notts County have 6 to play. South Shields is still in it, and we do play them this week. So let's keep this one alive long enough just to get through that match. You could see right along with me, 4 days? That won't quite get us there. But you could see right alongside me how we do at home against South Shields. Can we pull that one off? If we get that win, I think it becomes a 2-horse race. Us and Notts County. 5 to play. We've got a shot to actually get through the league here, despite the player losses, despite getting up to a higher division where it's just gonna get tougher to do it in one. We're gonna have to develop players, and we've got to retain players. But of course, as this is gonna be that final episode, this is it. This is that last chance. If we go from here to League 2, I mean, we're gonna actually break into the league, and that is so huge. But here we are. By the way, Man United leading Premier League this season. I think this would be their first or second title. Might be their first. Youth contracts are all getting signed. Oh, South Shields have... No, they're still third. There's a small chance we'll get it here. The result. Pretty hard to kind of pick through that, though. Yeah, I didn't see it. Wow, that's a lot of news for 2 days. Callister and Williams both hurt in the game. That doesn't help. Or in practice before the game. Erdogan is going to get a pay increase. Owen scored 2 goals. And we come out ahead. What was that? 4-2. There you go. So we win 4-2. Final 5. We've got Hartlepool, Stourbridge, Swindon Town, Boston United, and Cambridge United. Cambridge is now actually in third. So that's the big game. It is at home. Only 2 home games here in the last 5, but also none of it's at home, right? This season has been played on the road. Did I even tell you about that? Oh man, maybe not. I think it was at the end of last episode. I do think it got in there. But they are building a new stadium once again because our stadium was too small. And instead of trying to do some sort of upgrade, they just called it and said, we're going to build another new stadium. So, club info, let's see, facilities. Yeah, we've been playing at Darlington Road this year, so we are loaning and filling in here. And renting $10,000 per year. That's not bad. I'm actually curious what it's been like this season. I have no idea what kind of attendance we've had or not. It's a good chance as we approach the end of the season to take a look at kind of how my reputation has grown Oh no, not that one. It's been a while. Stop. There. Okay. So current ability at 119 now, slowly growing. Current reputation up to 6,000 now. Home and world reputation have grown quite a bit. So that's coming along. I mean, I'm up to a pretty decent reputation compared to others around the world. Obviously, the hands-on approach is still really hurting, but I've got good evaluation in a lot of areas, but moving so quickly through the ranks that nothing is developing in terms of relationships. That hurts, but overall reputation has gone from 2 stars to a 2.5 this year. The team reputation, by the way, finally got out of that half star that it has been with throughout the entirety. We did finally hit a 1-star reputation entering this year. And speaking of, so that 1-star reputation, we're really up to those higher levels now. So the reputation 2341. We started with nothing. We had no reputation. Club attendance is about 400. And the finances jumped to 10 million. Corporate facilities were down this year, but that's because we're at Darlington Road. Everything else is still a 20. And the streak of straight wins after that first season, where we were dead last, we've won every single season since then. First place. This is it. This is that last chance. And with that, let's play out these last 5 games. I'll see you back at the end of the season. Will we make it? Will we survive? Can we win the league? It's certainly possible. We've done it. We've reached the end of the season, and only in the final 2 games did we secure the lead. Notts County cracked under their pressure. I think they got 1 point in their final 2 games, while we won down the stretch. We had 1 draw in the final 5. We won the other 4, pulling maximum points, actually executing really well. We end up getting 102 points on the season. Goal differential jumped to plus 61. So in those final games, we did what was necessary and came away with the league, securing that 1 final promotion, and we get all the way up to League 2 at the end, which is pretty freaking phenomenal. We were not expected to win the league this year. In fact, when I tried to tell the team during the offseason that we should win the league, they were pretty ticked at me. Let's see player stats. Jordan Daly, 28 goals, so he played striker this year. Did really well in that. 28 goals is a pretty good total for a first-year player. David Forbes, 7.38 rating. Forbes had 16 assists, so a fullback led the way. It's been quite a while since we've had a fullback leading in creation. They've always been up there for us. This formation play style works really well for that. Kieran Spence, 92% pass completion. Jordan Daly with 7 Player of the Match awards. Only 12 yellow cards for the most players. That's one thing that we did much better in. Adrian Williams was alone with just 1 red card. Breaking down the squad. Kieran Spence ended up our best player after the loss of so many guys. Forbes right there behind him. Douglas jumped to a 112. Erdogan stayed at a 111 after joining the senior squad. Owen at a 111. There's Jordan Daly, who was, 88, 89 at the start of the season. Ended up at 107. That's after getting injured and missing some time and actually dropping back down a bit. Luka Jackson was also injured and he dropped down a bit. So was McKinnon. So it was tough. Smolka, nice jump recently to get up over 100. Moffitt missed some time, and that's a lot of guys that we were playing without, and yet we persevered. We got through. Spence played 50 games this season. Daly played 51. Jackson played 51. He played hurt, so he played through the pain. Just 3 goals and 6 assists for him, though. 28 goals for Daly. Only 3 assists, so that's one area. He was your finisher, but he did not execute well by bringing others into it. Stephen Owen did pretty good with 17 goals, 6 assists. Forbes had 16 assists, but never scored himself. McKinnon was relatively balanced at 13 and 7. Smolka did really well, 10 and 8. AJ Williams, who played a lot at that left wing spot, was 8 and 9, and he's neared his potential. So he did a pretty dang good job for us stepping into a difficult position. And in terms of the ratings, Smolka, 7.56. So he didn't play as much, but he had the best ratings. Smolka, big boost for us, filling a major void. That left wing has been big for us from that first youth intake on. And he stepped into that role partway into the season in a big way. Forbes, Owen, good ratings. Daly, not great, but certainly good. Moffat had a good year. McKinnon had a good year. Jackson was steady. But that's not as big, right? That's not as big of a rating as we've seen in years past. It was a lot closer this year than last. Final look at what we've got here. Leon Dawson looks like he's ready for next season to step into the senior squad. That's just about it for the under-23s. The under-23s is starting to get pretty big. There's a few guys that are going to have to go, like Catton would be ready to go. The under-18s, Jack Weir, ready to move up. Still low determination, though. Madden's ready to move up. Just those two. So, mixed bag. A lot of players. I would definitely thin things out a little bit if it was continuing on as a playthrough. We would definitely be ready to start shedding some of those guys with less potential, like those 70s in the potential area. But more importantly, I mean, you got a whole bunch of guys right here: Les Reed, Catton, Jones, Liver's Edge, Reed, Lincoln, Curry, Watson, Stevenson, Morgan, and Roberts. That's your group right there. Wipe those guys out, thin things down a bit, and you start taking this team to the next level, top to bottom. And we saw that, right? The U18s won their league. That's a first. Our under-23s were competitive. They were just starting to get there, right? I mean, how did they end up doing? Still at the bottom of the league. 3, 7, and 10, though. 16 points. They were 1 point behind Crystal Palace. They were only a minus 12 goal differential. That's some pretty steady improvement from where they've been. I mean, this was a team that was going without any points. Last year, I think they had about 7. So, real step in the right direction where top to bottom we're getting somewhere. This was a hard year. Much closer in the league. I mean, it was only until the penultimate game that we won the league. We lost half a dozen talented individuals, plus a couple at the end of last season. So, we lost a good 7-8 players this year. And then we had our worst youth intake that we've had. But despite all of that, we pulled it off. We got another league victory to continue the streak. I think it probably would end next year, especially after all the players we just lost. But the team would continue to develop. We're going to move into a new stadium. The youth intake would rebound. I mean, we're still going to have excellent youth intake year after year. So the team would develop, would grow. It would happen. I think the youth intake this year had a lot to do with the assistant manager. The new assistant manager probably didn't have as strong of a reputation. But then again, it really shouldn't make much of a difference other than what positions they're in. Because if we have 20 youth recruiting and the system is the way it is, we are at the end of the list of those with 20 because we have the lowest reputation. That didn't change this year. All the teams with 20 reputation and youth intake, or 20 youth intake, they're all Premier League sides. Or at least championship sides. So they all have massive reputations compared to us. Minimum is 3 stars. We're a team who just got to 1 star this year. So we've been at the end of that list for years and years and years. But we, in that random assortment of what we get youth intake-wise, is still better than the 19s and the 18s and the 17s. So that's why we continue to climb. But at some point, the team's got to develop. And we've got to stop losing so many players. This year, it was odd that we lost so many players to small bids. It wasn't even huge bids that they stepped in and just, took all of them. It was like, oh, you're throwing money at us. Okay, shower us with money. Bring it on. Well, whatever. We still got the job done. It makes that task so much harder. But imagine if we still had Williams Toyne and Frame and Matthews. If we still had all of those guys and keeping Barry Ball, our first 11 then. Oh man, right? If those guys had the time to stay and develop with this team, we'd have a first 11 with everybody out like a 110 plus, a 120 plus. We would have won comfortably this year, and I would think we'd still be in line to win next year as it would get tougher. Next year, League 2, I don't know if we're at that level, right? I don't think we're going to win. Especially if you haven't noticed, when I manage, the team wins like 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. When I go on vacation, games are a lot closer. My assistant manager doesn't manage as well the squad in-game than I do. So, that's a factor that holds us back. We'd be getting 100 points every season if I managed every game. But thanks for tuning in. If you're still here, if you're one of the lucky few who has made it all the way to the end of this series, I do appreciate it. I very much appreciate that you stuck with it. This was a project more for me than anything. I knew a long time ago that the views were very low on this. But I've had so much fun doing this series that I stuck with it as long as I did. And I really do want to bring this back. So, FM20, when it releases, I think instead of my standard series that I've been going through, which really didn't do very well, I want to do something like this from day one. It'll be difficult because the mods might not be there to get to the 10th tier day one. I might have to wait for it to come out a little bit, or I'll have to jump in from that 6th tier and do it from there. And maybe that'll be a better way to go this next time instead of starting all the way down at the 10th tier. So that's what I'll probably do. I'll do the same setup. I can make that happen, but it'll start from Vanarama National League North. So one step below where we're at now. Of course, we'd be heading to the 4th tier, but starting at the 6th tier might make a little more sense. Let me know in the comments below if you agree, if you think I should do differently. Of course, there's not that many viewers, and I have not even had a comment on this series since first or second episodes, so that might be asking a lot, but if you feel like it, please contribute to the idea, the concept on where to go with this series for next season. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and look out for my other series. Bye for now.